invite His Excellency Mr. Pranay Verma, Indian Ambassador to Vietnam, Hanoi, Vietnam. Sir, I have been waiting for a longer time. Sir, may I request you to deliver the valedictory address? Sir, namaskar.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So, namaskar and good afternoon to all distinguished scholars and participants who are present online today at this valedictory session. I would like to thank all the four organizers, UGC Center for Southeast Asian and Pacific Studies, in particular, along with ICWA, VISAS in Hanoi, as well as VIT Business School in Vellore for taking this initiative to organize this online conference on what I would call a very important topic in the Pacific. The topic is of great importance and relevance for both India and Vietnam, not only because both these countries are situated at critical locations of this region, but also because they depend so extensively on the region's well-being to advance their own national interests. Both these countries are also important stakeholders in the region, by contributing individually and through their bilateral and multilateral partners to the region's stability and growth. Our two countries therefore shoulder important responsibilities in shaping the discourse and the concept of Indo. I'm sure the deliberations held during the conference over the past 2 days have contributed to a robust collective understanding.
Sorry, sir, is it possible to increase the volume?
Okay, can you?
Yes, sir. It is not clear. Okay. Thank you, sir. Sorry.
Can you hear? Can you hear it better now?
Now it is fine, sir.
Let me try my window. Is it
Okay.
better now?
Yes, thank you.
So I was saying that the last 2 days of the debate and discussion, I'm sure, would have contributed to a better understanding of the concept itself, the geopolitical realities and the opportunities and challenges that exist in the Indo-Pacific. And I'm sure that you must also have heard a good deal on how in India we approach this concept and its various manifestations. So some of it, what I would say, may already have been discussed and deliberated, but at the risk of repeating some of those points, I would like to share my own thoughts on how India looks at the construct of Indo. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, it is fine.
Thank you. I just wanted to reconfirm, because sometimes when you go in your flow, you don't know whether. So let me identify 7 broad elements of how we look at Indo-Pacific from the Indian perspective. First, I think I believe that the term Indo-Pacific may be a new branding, a new leveling, but it reflects a geopolitical reality that has been in making in the region for some time. A reality which has been shaped by significant global political and economic rebalancing in the last couple of decades. What is new, of course, is how we appreciate this existing reality and how we try to devise and develop cooperative architectures that would harness the region's potential and manage its fault line. Second, India's Indo-Pacific vision that was first articulated by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi in his speech at the Shangri-La Dialogue in June 2008. That was the first time we came out in a very concrete, specific way, laying out our vision of Indo-Pacific. That is India's Indo-Pacific vision. I think in many ways it is sui generis. It is our own. It's from our perspective. So there could be areas of convergences and similarities. And I'm making this point because there are many constructs on Indo-Pacific that have been and are being proposed by many countries. And therefore it is important to make this distinction about India's Indo-Pacific vision being India's. And no, you cannot generalize it. You will have to look at our own perspective. Third point I will make is that our Indo-Pacific vision is premised on two basic recognitions. Number one is that opportunities and challenges in the Indian and Pacific Oceans cannot be artificially separated. And two, that this geographical space represents contemporary growth realities, the realities of this century, not of the last. Fourth, as the largest economy in the Indian Ocean and as a country significantly integrated with the Pacific Ocean through trade, India has a natural interest in the peace, stability, and development of the Indo-Pacific. Fifth, India's Indo-Pacific vision is a critical component of our doctrine of Sagan, that is security and growth for all in the region, as well as a natural extrapolation of our Act East policy. Our vision is for a free, open, peaceful, prosperous, and above all, an inclusive region that believes in a rules-based regional architecture and respects sovereignty of nations. Most importantly, ASEAN's centrality is a foundational feature of that. Number 6, unlike the original connotation of the Asia Pacific as a theater of conflict of war crimes, the term Asia Pacific came during the war times as a theater of war. In contrast to that, our Indo-Pacific vision is a positive construct of development, of connectivity, in which India can play a unique role by virtue of its geographical location and economic strength. In that sense, this vision has an economic primacy with emphasis on collective prosperity through collaboration and connectivity. But at the same time, in this economic emphasis, collaborative efforts to ensure rules-based order and security are equally vital. Given the predominantly maritime nature of the region, it is obvious that much of these relate to our efforts to ensure that global commons are better secured, that freedom of navigation and overflight, and of lawful commerce and economic activities is protected based on international law, and that sovereignty and territorial integrity of countries are respected. And seventh, we see Indo-Pacific as a platform to promote a regional multipolarity, one that gives all stakeholders a voice and say in the shaping of a regional order that is fair and just, and that abides by universally recognized law. In other words, the Indo-Pacific construct, as we see it, allows us options to proactively advance our interests through a network of positive interdependencies, rather than reactively confining us to binaries. To translate this vision of partnership and collaboration into practical plan of action, at the East Asia Summit in 2019, Prime Minister Modi further articulated our what we call Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative, IPOI, which provides a detailed template for partnership-based cooperation across 7 verticals: maritime security, maritime ecology, maritime resources, capacity building and resource sharing, disaster risk reduction and management, and science, technology, and academic cooperation. And lastly, trade, connectivity, and transport. So as you can see, across its various strands, the IPOI that we presented as a practical plan of action to implement the vision of Indo-Pacific that we have. The IPOI concerns itself largely with fashioning practical regional responses to deal with both traditional and non-traditional security issues on the one hand, and also shared challenges like climate change and sustainable development on the other. At the same time, the IPOI also strives to build interconnected stakes in collective well-being and reinforces the foundational centrality of ASEAN in the regional market. The IPOI does not seek to create any new regional architecture, but builds upon the existing ASEAN-led framework. We are happy that ASEAN countries, including Vietnam, have also come up with their own outlook on the Indo-Pacific, as it is called, ASEAN Outlook on Indo-Pacific, AOIP, which is broadly similar to India's Indo-Pacific Vision and our Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. The four priority areas of ASEAN's AOIP, which are maritime partnership, sustainable development goals, connectivity, and economic partnership, overlap very nicely with India's Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. This congruity in how we view our shared region is not a mere coincidence. In my view, reflects a logical awareness of what we need to do for the region's security and growth. Together, in my view, ASEAN's AOIP and India's IPOI provide a strong basis, a useful roadmap to reinforce our cooperation with ASEAN and promote regional integration, physical and digital connectivity, and economic and development. Let me say a few words because I'm speaking from Hanoi. Let me also say how and where Vietnam fits in this vision. We believe that India-Vietnam Comprehensive Strategic Partnership is a critical piece in the Indo-Pacific landscape. And in the joint statement, joint vision that our two prime ministers adopted during the virtual summit, which was held in December last year, 2020, the joint vision actually notes that enhanced defense and security partnership between India and Vietnam is an important factor of stability in the Indo-Pacific region amidst the emerging geopolitical and geo-economic landscape in the region and beyond. As a close partner of India with multifaceted political, economic, and security cooperation, and as a key link in India's engagement with ASEAN, Vietnam is clearly an indispensable partner in our Indo-Pacific vision, particularly given our shared values and interests in region's peace and prosperity. Both India and Vietnam are maritime nations, connected historically by maritime routes. Our shared stakes in peace and stability of our common maritime region and our growing emphasis on maritime interests in our respective national development strategy make our IPOI and ASEAN's AOIP a very practical basis to promote India-Vietnam strategic partnership in the face of contemporary challenges and opportunities in the shared Indo-Pacific region. Let me conclude by pointing out that as the existing geopolitical and geoeconomic scenario in the Indo-Pacific region has been overlaid by new complexities created by COVID-19, concerns over future pandemics, supply chain over-dependencies, disruptions in mobility, all these have brought to the fore new challenges of an interconnected. They have also focused our attention to building capacities at core. We are confident that India's economic capacities, you mentioned about $5 trillion economy, goal of building India into a $5 trillion economy. We believe and we are confident that India's economic capacities as we achieve those, as well as our developmental aspirations and capabilities as a first responder in the region, will create opportunities and be a pillar of strength for the economic revival and for peace and stability of the Indo-Pacific and indeed the entire world post-COVID-19. We look forward to working even more closely with Vietnam in this journey of hope into the future. I thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with you and for your patience and attention. Hope I was audible through the entire remarks. If I were not, then forgive me. I hope that the keynote address contributes to your deliberations and discussions in this. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar, sir.